Yes, good evening, good morning, whenever you're listening. That's right, you're getting a little bit of a surprise mini pod here. Matt Norlander from McKale Center, late after midnight out here in Tucson, in the remnants of a dominant and convincing 69-55 Duke win. I'm going to fly to Maui and technically about 7 hours from now, try and steal some sleep. But not knowing what that Sunday is going to look like, wanted to get you an immediate reaction after this game here in the event I don't join GP on the Sunday show. I might, but there's a bunch of stuff going on with the tournament. So with the huge time difference, we're not sure what the Sunday show is going to look like. But there will be a Sunday show, as always. It just might be GP and KB, Kyle Boone. We'll see. Let's get to the game. The biggest takeaway here is that Duke's defense was not only dominant, but dominant to a level that, while it's not going to show up like that every single game, should give Duke fans a lot of confidence that they have the personnel to shut down almost any team in the country and have a championship level squad that goes beyond the ACC. Talking NCAA tournament. Now we're early, and continuing this is going to be something. I'm going to reflect back on conversations I had with Duke staff when I went down to Durham a little more than a month ago, and we got to talking about their defense. You know, Jay Lucas is the defensive coordinator, and I talked with him, Chris Carrawell, John Shire. There was a lot of belief that this group had a ceiling that could be a top 5, if not better than that defense in the country. But I remember talking with Lucas about this, and it's how you progress as the season goes along, and the stuff that you're running now and the personnel you're using could change for any number of factors, injuries even aside, by February. So the staff is very aware that even though they look really, really good right now, continuing this deep into the season is a lot more challenging than I think people might realize. But on Friday, whatever, man. 0.81 points per possession for Arizona on its home floor, 55 points. That ties a program low under Tommy Lloyd, matching the infamous first-round loss to Princeton as a 2 seed a couple years ago in the NCAA tournament. And it was the lowest points in this building for Arizona since they had 52 against UCLA in 2020, which obviously predates the Lloyd era altogether. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see the box score here. Nada, we can go ahead and keep this up for a little bit. Shouts, by the way, to a fellow named Luke watching from Germany right now. Appreciate you. It is deep into the night. I'll stick with Duke, and then I'm going to get to Arizona. Cooper Flagg, game high 24. He was just okay in the first 20 minutes. I asked him afterward if, it took him a little bit to find his footing and what it was like to be out there in the middle of that. And he said he wasn't too shaken overall, but he wasn't as physical as he wanted to be, and that's completely understandable. In fact, what's impressive about the win for Duke is that if you're looking at the box score here, Flagg is 24, Con Knippel finishes with 13. He also didn't have a great game, and both of those players hit about 4 buckets. I want to say that came over the course of maybe 3 minutes of game time in the second half. Arizona was threatening. Then Flagg answered a Caleb Love 3 on the other end, and then Carter Bryant hit another 3 for Arizona, and Flagg came down and hit a floater. It was a couple of 2-point shots, and then a few plays later, Knippel winds up hitting a pair of 3s that really were the dagger. And to have that resolve in those moments, I mean, this is such a great venue. I love McKale. It's my second time here. Sorry, Arizona fans, both times I've come, your team's taken rare home losses when that's happened, and the crowd was very, very into it. But the Caleb Love 3 after the second opportunity when he got an offensive board, there was a real pop. Like, they were waiting for that moment, and it couldn't be sustained, and that's a credit to Duke and Flagg and Knippel in particular there. But across the board, the defensive effort was just insane. Like, Sion James turned off Caleb Love's water, and I'll get to Love in a second here, but Shire pointed afterwards to the fact that it's not just they've got big size, and they do. Like, Duke is a big team. It's going to work to their advantage so often this season that it's hard for me to see this roster know that it has not played an A-level game yet, even against the mid-major. Like, it has not put on, and we're not even 3 weeks into the season, so there's no shame in it. It has not put on a performance yet where it's like, well, damn, does Duke have a shot to be the best team in the country? To do what it did here and have it be so defensive oriented, the size they have, and come on, Malawach, rim protector. That warning sign's always on the floor at all times. Malik Brown can genuinely guard 1 through 5, and he was giving Krivas fits all night long when he was on the floor. Krivas not yet 100% healthy. He was a surprise starter. Toby Walker came off the bench. Tommy Lloyd afterwards said that might not have even been the right move, but they took a risk. It didn't pay off there. The Caleb Foster playing point guard, he didn't have a single assist in this game. They were able to overcome to me, the surprising part is they were able to overcome, I think it was 14 turnovers on the road. Foster was just okay. He had a 3 in the corner over here. That was pretty key, but it was just all about the defense. You get to 69 and hostile territory. You won't always take that because that's not always going to get it done. But for them to have held Zona and really taken Caleb Love out of the game was such a major factor. Now let me get to the Arizona side of this. Caught practice on Thursday, talked with Tommy Lloyd after, and he knew the rebounding was going to have to be key. He knew the physicality of his team was going to have to be key because, they're ramping up to be in the Big 12 here. By the way, shouts to the arena workers behind me as I'm podcasting, cleaning up. Hopefully that's not bleeding over too much into the sound. Nada, you keep me honest and let me know. For Duke to have made Arizona look inadequate on both ends of the boards is something that I don't know if we'll see 2 or 3 other programs do this entire season. And a lot of that is credit to Duke. But Arizona, you gotta come ready to play. And Tommy said after the game that, he's beaten down by the loss. It's the first time he's ever lost back-to-back games since he got to Arizona. But there's got to be answers. Is it in what he is putting on the floor? Is it scheme? I thought some of it was physicality in this game, but he and the coaches clearly are looking at what they've got going on. And Caleb Love is, I think after tonight, I think he's just under 10 points per game this season so far. He was 1 of 9 from 3-point range and didn't have it. They wanted to get him looks, Caleb. They wanted to get him easy looks early and just get 2 or 3 buckets in the first 5 minutes of the game, get some good momentum. It didn't happen. And I do think that had a sustained negative connotation for Arizona throughout the night. I mean, they were chasing by the under 12. And while there were moments in the building where it felt like Arizona might be able to come back and because, it's a really hard place to play. And the crowd's incredible. I mean, over to my right here, the student section goes all the way to the top. I mean, there aren't many buildings in the entire country where there's a heavier, more prominent student section, but they just couldn't get it there. Credit to Jaden Bradley. He showed up big. He suffered some cramps, got back in. I think KJ Lewis had a cramp as well. Both of them came to the post-game presser, but those are your only 2 scorers in double digits. And Arizona did not display the kind of depth in this game that I was expecting. Now with losses to Wisconsin on the road last week, to Duke here, here's something of a wow. Arizona has not defeated an above 500 high major opponent since it beat Oregon on the 2nd day of March of last year. So I think it's played either 7 or 8 opponents that are power conference in that span. And it's either been a bad high major opponent that is defeated, or if it's been any team that's been above 500, it hasn't won the game. So if you're an Arizona fan, you're taking stock of this and you got a little bit of worry, which is fine and fair. But I do think Duke dictating the conversation and really controlling this game was the bigger part of the story. However, I've got a piece up, or it's going to be up here at some point in the middle of the night. Shouts to our tremendous senior editor, Marcus Nelson, for staying up late on the East Coast and getting that done. Duke's defense is story number 1, for sure. Flagg continuing to put on these good games, but he has not had, and again, we're not even 15%, 20% into the season yet when you consider what Duke's ultimate game volume total will be by the end of March or early April. He hasn't had the game yet. Yet he's able to contribute 24 points, really turn it around in the second half and be the biggest reason why Duke was able to keep Arizona beyond arm's length there. And then the Caleb Love stuff, I just don't think Arizona, if it's going to be a team that threatens to be at the top of the Big 12, that is pushing for 2 seed, a 3 seed, if it's going to have Final Four hopes, at this point, it's probably fair to say Caleb Love is who he is, which isn't to say that he cannot get marginally better in this final year of college. I think that's on the table. His teammates are going to lift him up. It's not just him. Tommy took up for him after the game, but he admitted he's just not playing well at all, and they got to get some answers there. They need to figure out who is going to be the guy. It can probably be Caleb on some nights, but not all nights. I do love Bradley's potential to really become an ever valuable kind of player. He was expected to make a big jump, and had he not played as well as he did tonight, it could have been really ugly. But between him and KJ Lewis, who operates off of emotion, normally in a good way, he had a BS technical. And that didn't wind up mattering because Tyrese Proctor missed both foul shots when it went down to the other end. Maybe you try and spread out the love between those three. And then Tommy's also working with a pair of bigs, and he's rotating in and out. And they've had some success. But, yeah, you take a loss at Wisconsin, you allow 103 points, and then you come home after a week of prep, and you only get 55, and that's going to ring some alarm bells, and it's going to cause Lloyd and his staff to really circle back and try and figure out what's going on, because now Arizona is going to play in the battle for Atlantis next week. Davidson is the first opponent. Gonzaga, which is unquestionably a better team than Arizona right now. Arizona does not deserve to be ranked. And number 16, Indiana, are in that field. How does Arizona respond from there? It'll be interesting to see. But at this point, yeah, if you're an Arizona fan, it's been a long time since you've seen your team beat an opponent of real value, and it's okay to have it's understandable, I guess I should say, to look around and be like, okay, what's the next step? What's the next stage there? To Lloyd and that staff's credit, like, they're very aware of this, and I don't think this is going to be a prolonged dip for them. Before I get out of here, quick thoughts on Tucson and the Maui before I wrap up. I did want to try and keep this under 15 minutes. I'm trying my best. Love this building. Tucson's incredible. Second time here. I gave Baja Cafe a shout out on the Friday morning pod, then went and proceeded to have breakfast there. It is one of the best. Like, all these college towns have like these great spots to go and eat. That's the best breakfast spot that I've ever been to in a college town. Baja Cafe in Tucson, phenomenal stuff. I hit up Sabino Canyon. Got a hike in. That was an incredible spot as well. Really enjoyed my brief time out here in Tucson, and it was a fun little first stop on my way to Maui. I will fly to Maui on Saturday morning. Eager to get there. I got my father, who has always wanted to go to Hawaii. He and one of my brothers are already out there. Actually was on the team plane with Iowa State, and that now I'm just now realizing they were supposed to rendezvous with TJ Otzelberger once they got the baggage claim, but I never got an update from any of them, so maybe they never wound up talking. But sure enough, through the connecting flight in Phoenix there, they got there together. I can't wait to cover Maui. I may well do some of these dispatches from Maui. That's not a promise. We're going to consider doing those because, again, the 5-hour time difference, scheduling and all that. Loaded field. UConn will play Memphis to start on Monday, and then you're going to have Michigan State, Colorado. Iowa State, Auburn is a first-round matchup. And then on the back end, you've got North Carolina and Dayton to finish out. And I can't wait. I'm super excited to get out there and see what Maui's all about and finally get to go and experience that. But you'll hear more from me once I get out to the islands there. Shout out to Nada, by the way, for staying up late and making sure this happens. Appreciate you, buddy, for that. And that's my quick takeaway from McKale. And we wait and see how Arizona adjusts this. And will it wind up being one of those teams that was widely overrated in the preseason? I don't think so. But there's enough evidence right now to consider, like, maybe that could be the case with Duke operating at a high level, and there's still so much room to grow. The Kentucky loss, last thing here, and then I promise not we'll close up shop. Tyrese Proctor specifically referenced the loss at Arkansas last year in non-conference play. I was at that one too, and kind of drawing from that and talking to his teammates about it. And then the Kentucky game, how it ended, how they lost. It seems like there was real application to that stuff from the guys that went through it, and now and applying it here. And good on Duke for getting the win. To the handful of you that were watching this in real time, appreciate you so much. If you dig this kind of thing and you want some more monologue quickie pods, find us, let us know. I may well do it from Maui, but But you got another episode coming on Sunday. GP will provide you his thoughts here and everywhere else with everything we saw on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday in college hoops. Thanks so much. Talk to you again soon from Hawaii.